Marcus Carter had never expected to spend his Friday night standing outside the most exclusive charity gala in Washington, D.C., but when his 10-year-old daughter Emma won a national essay competition honoring military families, the invitation arrived with gold lettering and the promise of a memorable evening. Marcus, a widowed single father and former Army logistics officer, had sacrificed everything to raise Emma after losing his wife to illness. He worked long hours as a defense systems consultant, though few people knew the true importance of his quiet career. To everyone else, he looked like an ordinary father wearing an inexpensive suit that had seen better days. Emma had begged him to attend because she wanted him beside her when the winners were recognized. As they arrived at the glittering ballroom, luxury cars lined the entrance while celebrities, politicians, and billionaires walked across the red carpet. Inside, Crystal Lawson, the celebrated CEO of Titan Dynamics, proudly welcomed elite guests. Her company was moments away from announcing what everyone believed would become a historic $1.2 billion defense contract with the federal government. Crystal believed appearances meant everything, and when she noticed Marcus entering with Emma, she frowned. His suit wasn't designer, his shoes were worn, and he looked nothing like the wealthy executives surrounding her. Assuming he had somehow entered without permission, she marched across the ballroom and stopped directly in front of him. "Security!" she called loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. The music softened as conversation stopped. Crystal looked Marcus up and down before saying, "This event is for invited guests, not people looking for free food. Escort him outside." Emma immediately held her father's hand tighter, insisting they had genuine invitations. Crystal barely glanced at the invitation before dismissing it. Security politely asked Marcus to leave. Embarrassed but unwilling to argue in front of his daughter, Marcus quietly thanked the guards for doing their jobs and turned toward the exit. Guests whispered, some recording the scene on their phones while others laughed. Emma struggled to hold back tears. Before they reached the doors, Marcus looked down and gently reminded her that a person's character is never measured by the opinions of strangers. Just then, Marcus's phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen, answered calmly, and spoke only a few words. "Yes, if that's how they've chosen to proceed, cancel the contract immediately." His voice remained steady before he slipped the phone back into his pocket. Nobody paid attention except a retired general standing nearby, whose face suddenly turned pale after recognizing Marcus. Minutes later, the ballroom doors opened again. This time, several senior Defense Department officials entered with urgency. Instead of approaching Crystal, they walked directly toward Marcus. One official shook his hand respectfully while another apologized for the public humiliation. The crowd fell completely silent. Crystal watched in confusion as the officials addressed Marcus as the government's lead civilian advisor responsible for approving the final operational review of the $1.2 billion defense program. The same man she had thrown out moments earlier was the person whose recommendation determined whether the contract moved forward. The smiles around the ballroom slowly disappeared as everyone realized the evening had taken an unexpected turn. If you enjoy emotional stories filled with justice, unexpected twists, and inspiring family moments, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become part of our growing storytelling family. Crystal Lawson felt the confidence drain from her face as the Defense Department officials explained that the contract announcement had been suspended. The decision had nothing to do with revenge, Marcus insisted, but everything to do with leadership. Calmly addressing the room, he explained that defense partnerships required trust, integrity, and respect for every individual, regardless of appearance or status. A company that judged people by expensive suits instead of character risked making the same dangerous assumptions when serving those who protected the nation. The officials confirmed that Marcus had recommended an immediate review of Titan Dynamics' corporate leadership before any agreement could continue. The ballroom remained silent except for the clicking of cameras and whispered conversations. Crystal attempted to apologize, insisting she had made an honest mistake. Marcus looked at Emma before answering. "Everyone makes mistakes. The difference is whether they're caused by misunderstanding or prejudice." His words struck the room harder than any angry speech ever could. Emma, still holding her father's hand, stepped forward and quietly said that all she had wanted was for her dad to see her receive her award. Several guests lowered their eyes in embarrassment. One elderly veteran stood and applauded. Within seconds, the applause spread across the ballroom until nearly everyone was standing. Crystal realized she had spent years building a reputation for business excellence while forgetting the simplest rule of leadership: treat every person with dignity. Weeks later, after an independent review, Titan Dynamics introduced major leadership reforms, mandatory respect and ethics training, and stronger community outreach programs. Crystal publicly accepted responsibility for her actions instead of blaming others. Marcus later supported restoring the contract after the company demonstrated genuine change rather than offering empty promises. The decision protected thousands of employees whose livelihoods depended on the project while proving that accountability could create growth instead of destruction. Emma finally received her award at a smaller ceremony where the applause felt far more meaningful because it came from people who valued character above wealth. As they walked out together, Emma smiled and asked her father why he hadn't embarrassed Crystal when he had the chance. Marcus replied that real strength isn't proving you have power, it's choosing how to use it. Months later, Titan Dynamics became known not only for engineering excellence but also for its renewed commitment to fairness and respect. Crystal often shared the story with young executives, reminding them that one moment of arrogance could cost years of trust. Marcus returned to his quiet life, grateful that Emma had witnessed something more valuable than a contract. She had learned that dignity cannot be taken away by humiliation, kindness is never weakness, and true leaders earn respect through their actions, not their titles. Long after the headlines disappeared, the lesson remained unforgettable for everyone who had been in that ballroom that night. Never underestimate the person standing quietly in the corner, because integrity often wears the simplest clothes. If this story inspired you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories of hope, justice, family, and unforgettable life lessons.